Hey guys, I know it's been a little bit, but tonight I've got kind of a lesson. Not many announcements at the moment. Trying to figure out when we could possibly meet back again together. Hopefully, not too long. Within a month, 2 months, within that range, most likely is when we'll be able to come back together. But tonight, wanted to talk about something that's been on my heart, about something that God's been speaking to me about, which is prayer. And ironically, I'm going to open, I know this is a video, but I'm going to open us with a word of prayer and then talk about prayer a little bit. So, wherever you're at, I know, excuse my mop of a head right now. But wherever you are watching this video, I encourage you to pray with me. So, dear God, I want to thank you for God allowing me to speak with these teenagers, with these students. God allowing me to have a relationship with them, be able to teach them and encourage them. God, in a way for them to pour into me as well. God, I ask you to be with this lesson. God, thank you for all that you've done for me. I pray all this in your son's name. Amen. So, prayer. I would say that there's not a more important time that we should be praying. I don't think many people would disagree with that. I mean, it's not just about what's going on all around the world, because I won't list or name a lot, but because there's honestly so much to name that I could name. But obviously there are people hurting. There's people wanting justice, and that's not the only reason we need to pray. Right now, a lot of people aren't able to meet. Some people with their families, a lot of people with their friends. But no matter what, people aren't able to be as social as they normally are or would be. And overall, there's just an overall uncertainty about things, about the future, about plans coming up. And a lot of people had summer plans. Even talking to some of you had summer plans that you weren't able to do, or able to go on trips. And I know that I've seen this personally, that there's more stress, anxiety for most people because of all this. And so with that, prayer has never been as important. I know that for my life, prayer has kind of taken a back seat at times, especially, being mostly just something to do before bed, or to say before we eat, or even to just to say to someone, oh, I'm so sorry, I'll pray for you, and I hope that if you say that, you mean it and you do it. But that is one of those phrases, and it's one of the most extensions of a lot of people's prayer life. Prayer is something very special that we very much take for granted, but we really, really shouldn't. You see, in the past, I've talked about how when you're saved, when you accept Christ into your life, you begin a personal relationship with God. That's what Christianity overall is a relationship with God, with the God who made galaxies upon galaxies. See, recently I watched a movie called I Still Believe, which, if you've never seen the movie, I highly, highly encourage to watch. It is about a Christian musician named Jeremy Camp. Maybe you've heard some of his music. And it's about his life. And if you haven't seen it before, trust me, you need to see it. In the movie, Jeremy Camp and his girlfriend, who would later become his wife, go to a museum where they get to see a show of sorts. It's the lights dim and they see tons of stars and galaxies in the sky, images of these galaxies. The girl, she tells them about all the different galaxies, what they actually were, what a galaxy was, how it's a ton of stars with planets all around them, and it's just groupings of thousands upon thousands of them. She tells them all about these and then puts it in perspective. She said how it amazed her, how a God who made all of these massive, beautiful, and vast galaxies wanted a personal relationship with her, a tiny speck in the universe, and he even knows her by name. See, that's what's so amazing about salvation, is because the God who made everything, and we often just see everything on our planet, but you have to think that there's planets upon planets, or in stars upon stars, these massive galaxies. In fact, John chapter 1, the beginning of John, verses 10 through 13, this is what John says, talking about God. He was in the world, and the world was created through him, yet the world did not recognize him. He came to his own, talking about Jesus coming to the Jews, and his own people did not receive him. But to all who did receive him, he gave them the right to be children of God. To those who believe in his name, who were born not of blood, or of the will of the flesh, or the will of man, but of God. You see, we get to have a personal relationship with God if we have faith in him and we give our lives to him. You see, these verses talk about how God, who made everything, he came, and yes, people didn't recognize him. Not in the way of being like, oh, that's God, right? That Jesus guy, that's God. You can see it, right? No, not like that. But in the way that he came and he shared all of these things. He did miracles, yet people still didn't believe. But for those who did believe, for those who did have faith, he gave them the right to be children of God, got to have that relationship. So how does all of this relate to prayer? Because I've been talking about salvation, and how amazing salvation is, just being able to have that personal relationship. We see something unique about Christianity, especially compared to other religions and faiths, is prayer. Prayer is special and is unique for Christianity because it is that personal connection. You see, what other religions and beliefs around the world, with them, God tends to be distant. God is impersonal. You as a human cannot even fathom how to connect to this God. I could go through all these different beliefs, like deism, which says that God basically put the world on a timer, set it up, and created it, let it go. And he doesn't affect things personally. Even things that close to Christianity, they don't believe in that God is personal. But what's amazing is that with Christianity, what we believe is that prayer, what it is talking personally to the creator of everything. Not only are we able to have a relationship with God through salvation, but we can talk to him. Anyone can talk to him, which is amazing. You see, in Jeremiah 29:12, Jeremiah, who was one of the great prophets, says, "Then you will come upon me, call upon me and come and pray to me, and I will hear you. You see, this is God speaking to Jeremiah, as into saying to all of humanity, if you call upon me, if we call upon God and come to him and pray to him, he's going to hear us. See, God hears us when we pray. And other verses talk about how God always answers prayer. It may not answer it like we want, but he always answers our prayers, and does so in the way that is good. You see, we tend to treat prayer like a ritual. Instead of treating prayer like a ritual, try praying in a way where it's more like you're talking to your dad or a friend or someone you respect. Prayer is one of the most personal things we can do with God, but we tend to treat it so impersonal. It's just something to do before we eat or before we pray. It's just something we do. But don't treat it like a ritual. Just treat it like you're talking to someone. See, the next time that you pray before dinner, as an example, try to pray in a way where you're meaning what you say, and talk to God about how you're thankful that he's given you, he's provided you with whatever you're eating, because not everyone is blessed that way. We always talk as kids of like, you better eat your food. There are kids starving in Africa. You know, it's one of those things we always hear. But we as Christians, we need to be thankful. If we have food to eat, and we thank God that he's provided us with that. Next time, maybe you pray before bed. Pray and talk to him as though he's a person who protected you the whole day and helped you stay alive through it all. Because that's what he is. He's God. And through everything that we do in the day, you would be amazed at how many chances there are and opportunities where we could just die. It's dark. It's a dark thought, but truthfully, we don't have to be living. But God keeps us alive. In fact, if you are looking for encouragement about your purpose in life, you're upset about how you feel like everything's pointless, just think, you're still here. God still has you on this planet for a reason. You have a purpose. You see, and finally, just spend different times in the day praying. It doesn't have to be for an occasion. You don't have to pray for an event, and that being the only thing, or for an occasion. He's our Father in heaven. He's a friend who's always there for us. He is just, but he is love. See, just spend different times throughout the day praying, having conversations with God, because that's personal. Share with God the things you're struggling with. Although he already knows about it, he wants us to share those with him. And the things that we struggle with, he wants us to give those things to him. Just have a conversation like you would with someone that you respect with your whole being. See, there are so many reasons prayer is important, but I'll just talk about one more. See, as Christians, we need to see that as crazy as the world is right now, and as crazy as 2020 has been, basically been a game of Jumanji, we can still usher in something amazing. See, God can and is currently moving in the midst of this chaos. See, in moments after Jesus rose to heaven, after coming back from the dead, You see, all of his followers and family did one thing. They prayed. You see, there's Acts chapter 1 in verse 12 through 14. What it says is, then they returned to Jerusalem from the mount called Olive Grove, which is near Jerusalem, a Sabbath day's journey away. So they returned to Jerusalem after Jesus rose back to heaven. When they arrived, they went to a room upstairs where they were staying. And it lists, it says, Peter, John, James, Andrew, Philip, Thomas, Bartholomew, Matthew, James the son of Alphaeus, Simon the Zealot, and Judas the son of James. All of these being different disciples. He said all these were continually united in prayer, along with the women, including Mary, the mother of Jesus, and his brothers. You see, they spent days, and other verses talk about, how much time they spent in prayer. They spent time in prayer by themselves, and they spent time in prayer as a group, as with family members, with brothers and sisters in Christ. You see, but what happened after this? If they prayed so much, maybe what were they praying for, or what did it lead to? Well, you see, what happened is not long after, while they just continued to pray intensely, an event called Pentecost happened. And if you don't know what Pentecost is, because that sounds like Pentecostal possibly, it's the day where Jesus' followers shared the message of Jesus for the first time to thousands upon thousands of people, resulting in over 3,000 people coming to know Christ at once. It's the day that launched Christianity. God gave them the ability to speak in the tongues of all the different people. That's when we talk about speaking in tongues, that's what it meant. They were able to talk in their language. Tongues is just languages. Talk in the languages of the people. All the Jewish people from around the world came to one place, all came to Jerusalem. And with that, God gave them the ability to share Christ in their language. And it was amazing. You see, prayer has power. We've seen armies of people praying, leading to God, all the armies of people praying, leading to God healing individuals, miraculous healings. Science, although science, God is basically God's blueprint for us. Sometimes God works outside of that, and science sometimes can't explain these miraculous healings. It's produced revivals. Praying intensely has produced revivals and so many other powerful events. I don't know if you've looked outside recently, but a powerful move of God is definitely what's needed right now. His teenagers and his students. The faith that you can have displayed through prayer is astounding and powerful. Pray, and pray with purpose. Pray for those hurting and those that need help. This is one of the most powerful tools we have as Christians. And it's a part of that connection to God as Christians that we have. Don't let prayer just be a ritual. Pray personally and on purpose. And so, with that, I pray that you stay safe, that hopefully I see you all soon, and if you are struggling with something, if there's something that's going on in your life that you need prayer for, share it with me. Talk to me about it. I will pray with you on the spot right there. Don't be afraid to talk with people with fellow Christians. And if you don't know Christ, I hope that tonight, talking about how it's truly unbelievable that a God as great and as vast as He is, He wants a personal relationship with you. I know it sounds crazy, but I see the evidence in my life. I see the evidence in so many things, and that could be so many different lessons. But if you're curious about that and you have never accepted Christ into your life, talk to me. If I don't have answers for you, I hope I do, but if I don't, I'll find somebody that does. And together we can find answers to those questions that you have. Any questions. It doesn't even have to be about salvation. But what I'm saying is, reach out to me. Talk to me. And I'll be praying for each and every one of you. So I hope that y'all have a great week. Stay safe. I love you guys. I really mean that. So, y'all, I'll hopefully see y'all soon.